We're coming off a 2-1 card for plus 0.65 units. Alabama paid the bills, the Sixers cashed with Maxey doing Maxey things, and Inter turned our Ferrari into a stalled Fiat at the penalty spot. It happens. Variance is undefeated in shootouts, but math still wins seasons. Today's card is 3 bets. Real Madrid -2 at -120 versus Sevilla, Colston Loveland over 44.5 receiving yards in Packers at Bears, and Tulane plus 17.5 at -105 at Ole Miss. Let's get surgical. First up, Real Madrid -2. This is the part where a bunch of preview writers lovingly whisper tight match and 2-1 vibes, like they're reading a romance novel to an expected goals model. Sports Illustrated is basically saying Madrid should win, shrug, and XG-style previews spit out something like 1.9 to 1.0. Cute. That's the racing stripe on the minivan. It looks fast. It's still a minivan. Here's the actual shape of this game. Madrid at the Bernabéu has been a very real problem. 6 wins, 0 draws, 1 loss at home in La Liga, and we've already seen them hang a 4-0 at home on Valencia this season. Sevilla, meanwhile, is sitting mid-table on 20 points, with a perfectly meh 0-goal difference and a road record that screams, "We brought luggage, not belief." This is not a moral victory spot. This is 90 minutes of being asked to defend Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo in waves in Madrid, right before the holiday break. Also, the timing matters. Real are still in that, we need a clean statement or the narrative eats us alive zone. Reuters literally framed their recent win as relief pressure after a rough stretch. Great. That's exactly when elite teams stop being polite and start running up the score. Sevilla's best-case scenario is to keep it compact and pray the game stays small. But if Madrid scores first, and they generate the kind of chances that usually get you there, Sevilla has to open up, and that's when a 2-goal win becomes a 3-goal win. Not because we're dreaming, because game state turns Sevilla's defensive plan into confetti. And yes, we see the Sevilla +2 crowd. Sports Gambler is out here pitching Sevilla +2 like it's free money, basically saying they can keep it close. That's paying $100 for a $50 bill because it feels safe. Madrid's ceiling at home is exactly what this number is pricing, and we're buying that ceiling. Now to the cold, windy, beautiful mess at Soldier Field. Packers at Bears, Colston Loveland over 44.5 receiving yards. This is the easiest way to look smarter than people who still think tight ends only exist to commit holding penalties. Start with the obvious. Chicago is missing wide receivers Rome Odunze and Luther Burden III. That's not limited. That's removed from the offense. When teams lose that much receiver usage, targets don't evaporate. They move. And the ball tends to move toward the middle of the field, because quarterbacks enjoy continuing to live. ESPN's own betting coverage has already pointed at Loveland as a featured piece in this matchup because the Bears need functional routes, not inspirational speeches. Now, the numbers. Loveland's season line is 39 catches for 498 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's not a gadget. That's a real deployed passing option. And the recent game logs show the exact profile we want for an over in the mid-40s. He just put up 63 yards last week, he hit 55 in Week 10, 49 in Week 12, and he detonated for 118 in Week 9. This isn't a needs-a-miracle prop. This is a needs 5-ish catches at normal tight end depth prop. Here's the detail most people ignore. When Odunze and Burden are off the field, Loveland's role isn't just bigger, it's structurally different. His routes and his targets per route jump into "this is the read" territory. That's the kind of usage shift that breaks projections, because projections love season averages the way toddlers love shiny objects. And speaking of projections, VSiN's Opta-style projection is sitting under this number, closer to 40 than 45. That's fine. Models are useful. Models also miss context when context changes the inputs. The Bears aren't choosing between spread it out with our top 3 receivers and target the tight end. They're choosing between target the tight end and throw into triple coverage for the aesthetic. We know which one keeps the quarterback employed. Weather check. It's not a frozen apocalypse, more like chilly, breezy, and occasionally annoying. That tends to push targets underneath anyway. Great. Give us the 6-yard stick routes and the seam shots off play action. We're not asking for a 70-yard bomb. We're asking for a steady diet of please move the chains football. That's tight end cuisine. Last one, Tulane plus 17.5 at Ole Miss. And yes, we know the first meeting was a 45-10 Ole Miss win back in September. That is precisely why the spread is this fat. The market is anchoring to a single data point like it's a family heirloom. One game is a dot on the graph. It is not the trend line. CBS Sports' Tom Fornelli is telling you to lay it with Ole Miss, and Action Network is also on Ole Miss minus 17.5. The reasoning is mostly talent gap, home playoff game, crowd, and Tulane's defense has issues. All real, also incomplete. Because when you're laying more than 2 touchdowns in a playoff setting, the question isn't who's better. The question is, how many possessions do we get, and what does the game look like once the favorite is ahead? This Ole Miss team is in a weird transition moment. Lane Kiffin is gone, Pete Golding is now the head coach, and even CBS is openly wondering if Ole Miss looks more conservative in Golding's first game running the whole operation. Conservative is great for winning. Conservative is not great for covering monster numbers, because conservative means fewer snaps, more run, more clock bleed, and fewer high-variance downfield shots. That's how favorites win by 14, and everyone who laid 17.5 suddenly develops a passion for bad beat stories. Now Tulane's path: shorten the game and stay functional. Action Network even notes their quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, runs a heavy zone read profile and has piled up rushing touchdowns. A quarterback run game is the ultimate possession thief. It keeps the clock moving, it converts third downs, and it turns Ole Miss by 30 into Ole Miss by 16, and everyone's mad. Tulane also closed the season on a 5-game win streak, and the version of Retzlaff now is not the version that got steamrolled in September. We're not pretending Tulane is more talented. We're betting that 17.5 points is a tax on your memory, and memory is not a sportsbook edge. If Ole Miss plays clean and still takes the air out of the ball late, Tulane can lose comfortably and still cash. That's not romance, that's math. So that's the card. Madrid minus 2, Loveland over 44.5 receiving yards, and Tulane plus 17.5. If you want vibes, go light a candle. If you want edges, follow the usage, follow the possessions. And stop treating one old blowout like it's a prophecy carved into stone.